Good morning. This is Gene Love, Chairman of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to the notice provisions of the Oklahoma Open Meeting Act, with all participating authority members attending in person. This meeting is also being live streamed and recorded for remote viewing. While this meeting is open and public, there's no public comment scheduled for this meeting. The time is 10:34, and I'm calling the March 7th special meeting of the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority to order. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. John Jones.
Here.
Ms. Dana Weber.
Here.
Mr. Will Berry.
Here.
Mr. Todd Cone.
Here.
Mr. John Titsworth.
Here.
Mr. Gene Love.
Here.
We have a quorum, and could I just get a check and everybody back in the back here, everything okay? Okay, we're good.
I see heads nodding.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of our special meeting of February the 8th, and you got copies of those in your agenda. Are there any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion for approval and a second. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cone.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Yes. The next item's on the agenda from the Finance Committee. Mr. Cone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Submitted for the consideration and approval of the authority is a request to approve the fiscal year 2023 property insurance premium in the amount of $426,107.42 to be paid to the Risk Management Division of the Office Management and Enterprise Services. We reviewed this with the staff and reviewed it at the Finance Committee meeting this morning, and they recommended approval, and I would move for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cone.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yeah.
Mr. Love.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, submitted for consideration is item number 1042, which is the approval of the authority for the premium for fiscal year 2023 bridge property insurance premium in the amount of $1,365,442.18 to be paid to the Risk Management Division of the Office of Management and Enterprise Services. We reviewed this with the staff, reviewed this morning in the Finance Committee, and I'd recommend approval and move for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cone.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yeah.
Mr. Love.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, finally, item number 1043, which is submitted for the consideration and approval of authority, is the payment register for the period of January 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2023. This has been reviewed with staff, and I would move for approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cone.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yeah.
Mr. Love.
Yes. The next items on the agenda are from the Engineering and Construction Committee. Mr. Berry.
Thank you, Chairman Love. My first item is item 1044, presented for the consideration of the authority as a request that the following change orders and supplemental agreements be approved. These are presented as items 1 through 9, with one item applying to a driving forward project and 8 of these items applying to the capital plan projects. 4 of these items add new pay items to compensate the contractor for additional work. 5 of the items establish the final quantities on the contract in order to close out the project, and 1 of them grants time back to the contract. Each of these items have been reviewed by staff and have been discussed in the Engineering and Construction Committee meeting and are recommended for approval. I move that we approve this item as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Cone.
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth.
Yes.
Mr. Love.
Yes.
Next item is item 1045 from the Engineering Division. It's a construction contract award. Submitted for the consideration of the authority is a request that the following items be approved or disapproved. A summary of these items are as follows. Project number 1, IN-MC-70B. It's an asphalt pavement rehabilitation from milepost 20 through 30 on the Indian Turnpike. The low bidder was APAC Central, Inc., in the amount of $11,738,880.19. The second was project number CHT-MC-11, which is a positive barrier, milepost 0 to 32 on the Cherokee Turnpike. The low bidder was Sherwood Construction Company in the amount of $11,642,684.83. Project number 3 is ITB 2023-002. It's a fabrication and delivery of the overhead gantries at various locations on the Indian Nation Turnpike. The low bidder was Metal Pros LLC in the amount of $991,140. The engineering staff and the consultant engineer have reviewed the above items and recommend approval. I therefore move that we approve this item as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
Next item is item number 1046. It's also from the Engineering Division. It's a ratification of declaration of emergency and award of contract to Logos Construction Company, LLC, for the emergency repairs to the Bridge 31.3 at milepost 166.8 on the Turner Turnpike. Submitted for the consideration and approval of the authority is a request to ratify the Executive Director's February 5th, 2023 declaration of an emergency and award of contract to Logos Construction in the amount of $163,688.12 to repair TPU Bridge 31.3 on the Turner Turnpike. Project number T-ER-035. Low bidder was Logos. Again, in the amount of $163,688.12. We also had a purchase order for the steel beam for this emergency repair. The supplier was Manhattan Road and Bridge in the amount of $7,085. The Executive Director's declaration of emergency and contract award to Logos was in accordance with the Public Competitive Bidding Act 610.S.130. This item was discussed in our earlier meeting this morning, and I move that we approve this item as presented.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
Next item is item 1047 from the Right-of-Way and Utilities Division. It's the declare surplus property and authorize the director to sell, lease, or otherwise dispose of the same. The following parcels consisting of the approximate acres and the locations identified are: parcel number 1 is MU 200.2, location section 16, township 18 north, range 15 east, 9.08 acres on the Muskogee Turnpike in Wagner County. And parcel number 2 is CH-307 with the location of section 17, township 20 north, range 24 east, roughly 2.34 acres on the Cherokee Turnpike in Delaware County. A staff review of the property was conducted, and it has been determined that a portion of the described parcels in the approximate acreage identified was acquired as uneconomic remnants and is not needed for any construction or maintenance needs of the Turnpike system. The staff has reviewed the above items and recommends approval. I move that we approve this item as presented.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
My next item is from the Maintenance Division, item 1048. It's service contract awards. Submitted for the consideration of the authority is a request to approve the following maintenance service contract renewals. Item number 1 is HEB-M-23. It's mowing on the H.E. Bailey Turnpike. The low bidder was MTS Brush Hogging in the amount of $399,252. Contract number 2 is IN-M-23. It's also a mowing contract on the Indian Nation Turnpike. Low bidder was Terry Enterprises in the amount of $465,932. Contract number 3, WR-M-23 mowing contract on the Will Rogers Turnpike. Low bidder was Lot Maintenance in the amount of $439,502. And contract number 4 is item number TU-M-23 mowing contract on the Turner Turnpike. The low bidder was MTS Brush Hogging in the amount of $262,392. The staff has reviewed the above items and recommends approval. I move that we approve this item as presented.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Jenny, please call the roll.
And if I can just clarify, these are awards, not renewals. We have both of those wordings in there, so awards. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes.
My last item is item 1049 from the Maintenance Division, Service Contract Renewals. Submitted for the consideration of the authority is a request to approve the following maintenance service contract renewal. Project number 1, SP-SW-21. It's median barrier sweeping on the Turner, Will Rogers, H.E. Bailey, Muskogee, and Cimarron Turnpikes. The low bidder was Lot Maintenance in the amount of $426,799.90. The staff has reviewed the above item and recommends approval. I move that we approve this item as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cohn?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes. The next items on the agenda are reports. The first is our operating results. Wendy Smith.
Good morning. Chairman Love, Secretary Gatz, members of the authority. You've all received your operations report for January prepared by the Comptroller Division. I'm happy to report that although toll revenues for the month of January were slightly down compared to budgeted projections, they were actually up 1.1%. Actually, yeah, toll revenues up 1.1%, and that was despite winter weather at the very end of the month. Also, the Cherokee and Creek turnpikes were successfully converted to cashless tolling in early February, and the Gilcrease for January actually averaged 12,978 transactions per day, which was up from 11,652 in December. And I did take a sneak peek for February, and for the month of February, they were up to 15,374 transactions per day. And with the all-time high, February 23rd, 18,374 transactions in one day. So we're really happy with how it's progressing.
That's above our original projections, right?
Yes, yes, it's
pretty-
really
pretty good
catching
amount.
on.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, good.
be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next report is from our consulting engineer, Jimmy Sparks.
Morning. Pardon me. Good morning, Chairman Love, members of the authority. Concerning the trust requirements, so we are well underway with our bridge and culvert inspections for the 2023 annual report. We will begin pavement inspections over the next month or so and really focusing on some of the older concrete pavements and the ride quality. We've made a significant investment into the diamond grinding and all that, and looking for the next sections, that need that. In recent months, we've had talked a lot about bridge hits, and I pulled some vertical clearance numbers that I wanted to share. We have roughly, our database shows 320 bridges where turnpike traffic travels under a bridge. That does not include ODOT roads above turnpikes, but we have 8 that are less than 15 feet in vertical clearance, 59 that are in the 15-foot range, and over 250 that are 16 feet or greater of those. 197 roads or railroads that go under OTA bridges. 4 of those are less than 15 feet, 20 are in the 15-foot range, and we have about 173 that are greater than 16 feet. So, it is an isolated few but I mean, those obviously are the ones that are going to get hit, and the ones that we need to pay particular attention to. Also, along the bridge count, the bridge-related items, our engineers checked about 20 different overloads. So, I mean, we see consistently in the 20s each month of the number of overload, the number of big loads that cross a bridge or travel on the turnpike system, so importance to commerce. Monthly report contained 2 impact inspections, another minor hit to the Chandler Interchange Bridge that did not warrant additional repairs, and then Stroud Interchange that you'll see had impacts, and we will kind of proceed with the normal bidding process on that one. As always, our capital plan project summary is in our monthly report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
How do we identify the overloads? How are we identifying the overloads?
So there is and this is Tim's probably more well-versed at that, but there's the OTA Pro system where they find, when you have an overload that doesn't fit under the envelope permitted load, and you have to go through and file that through size and weights. Through that load, it gets routed through the system, and then if it's outside the limits that's been okayed through the OTA Pros, it does kick back, usually generates from ODOT. They reach out to OTA Engineering Division, and they ask us to run particular bridges to check the overloads. So.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
And Tim can straighten that out if I misspoke there. So. All right, thank you.
Our next report is from the Highway Patrol, Major Kennedy.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the authority, Secretary Gatz, Director E. Kelly. For the month, Turnpike troopers made 4,168 violator contacts. We assisted 856 motorists and investigated 128 motor vehicle collisions. Troopers worked 1,125 shifts, averaging 172 miles per shift. That's a total of over 193,000 miles driven. I'm happy to report during the month we had no fatalities reported. We did have 16 criminal interdictions for the month. I've included specific information on commercial motor vehicle enforcement, air traffic enforcement, toll enforcement, motorcycle enforcement, and collision reduction. And I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next report is Director's Report, Secretary Gatz.
Mr. Chairman, board members, start this morning talking a little bit about bridgeheads. And, one of the things that we visit and you'll hear me discuss in the coming months is secure your load. Every spring, we really add an emphasis working with the Office of Highway Safety and certainly the Highway Patrol about if you're hauling, whether that's on a pickup, in a pickup bed, pulling a trailer with a pickup, or whether you're a semi-tractor trailer. It is extremely important to make sure that whatever you're hauling is secured. So strap it down, chain it down, check it and double check it, check the height. A lot of times what we see is equipment that has hydraulics. Sometimes if it's not properly boomed and chained, it will ride up during transit, and sometimes that results in a bridge hit. So a lot of different dynamics going on, but it begins with just making sure that you are able to carry the load that you're carrying on the highway or turnpike that you're planning to go on. And as Jimmy points out, the legal height on a truck in Oklahoma is 14 feet. If you're in excess of that height, you have to be very specifically and carefully routed to make sure that that route will support that clearance requirement. And we've got a series of ways to do that. One is through our routing and permitting system, and it has restrictions in it. We've got a height map that shows statewide where we've got restricted areas that are, and we actually have bridges out there on the system that are less than 14 feet. So those are extremely important. They show up in red. So a lot of different information available for hauling over height loads, because that's just a fact in the nature of business in Oklahoma. Commerce is going to have oversized, overweight, and over height loads. We have mechanisms in place to make sure that those loads are transported effectively and safely. So again, we just ask for private companies to be attentive to those needs and really make sure that whatever they're hauling properly secured and is being properly routed if it doesn't meet some of those criteria that are standard. So again, we need to continue to invest back into the Turnpike network because most of those bridges that are of low clear height are bridges that are at the end of their life expectancy anyway, and they need to be replaced. We have a lot of those that are on the Turner that are low clearance. or just above the minimum clearance. And we need to go ahead and fix those, and that's coming in the future. So on the radar, definitely. I wanted to also talk a little bit about interoperability that you heard Amanda give a report on this morning. We're extremely excited to be interoperable with Florida and the Southeast Hub. That's a first step, because that'll take a little bit to implement, and it'll have some moving parts to it, and we're not completely interoperable yet with everybody in Florida, because Florida is one of the states, much like Texas, that has a multitude of differing tolling entities. And so that'll take some additional work to get us completely up to speed. But that's just something that I've heard talked about even back to my ODOT days, with a nationwide push dating back into the mid-2000s for nationwide interoperability with tolling entities, especially as we move more and more into the use of things like Pike Pass and now with Plate Pay. So again, really excited about being interoperable. I think that's just the next step on the path that will eventually lead us to exactly that, nationwide interoperability. And again, I appreciate the work of Amanda and the team and everybody that's been working hard to make that happen. With our Plate Pay conversion, cashless conversion, we continue to make good progress. The Creek and the Cherokee have officially been completed in the transition to Plate Pay. The one thing I would call everybody's attention to is there's ongoing work on these conversions around the toll plazas and in other areas that are still going to be a little bit impactful to the traveling public. We'll have some work zones out there for a while, and we want everybody to be attentive as they travel, especially as they are around those areas that were previously cash toll plazas. So again, we've got some work to go to get everything up to like the way we want it in a final form. We appreciate your consideration this morning of the gantries on the Indian Nation. That's a step towards getting us ready to convert the Indian Nation to Plate Pay. And then next on deck, we're going to be looking at the Muskogee, and hopefully, again, still on target, on track for into 2024 to have everything completed and wrapped up. So appreciate the team that's working on that. We've got lots of folks that are going above and beyond to make that as seamless and as less impactful as it can be, and appreciate the work that they're doing. One of the things that we undertook in conjunction with the National Guard was a groundbreaking at the Chandler Joint Operations Center up at the Chandler Interchange. There's a couple of pictures here. And that location was one of those partnerships that was born out of necessity. This resulted from the Turnpike Authority looking at the interchange at Chandler, anticipating that we were going to need to make some safety improvements and changes there. The National Guard has a facility that's right there at the Chandler interchange. So we started some discussions with them about a potential land swap in order to be able to accommodate the Turnpike Authority's needs and their future needs as they expand that facility there in Chandler. This is the first step. So had we not had the vision and foresight and the communication back with the Turnpike Authority and the Military Department, the National Guard, we would have missed the opportunity to move ahead with this Joint Operations Center as the first phase of that much larger facility that they're building that's more regional in nature. And again, access to those locations is extremely important. We will now move ahead with some of our improvements in the context of fixing that Chandler interchange to make it much more functional and safer. And that will dovetail nicely with the expansion of the National Guard's operations there in Chandler. So again, super success story. We always appreciate the board's support for those types of initiatives and endeavors. And anytime we can leverage resources across state agencies, we need to be looking to try to do that. And that's a good example of that in action. And I'd close with a little bit of discussion about safety. Thank you so much for your support for cable barrier in our continued efforts to make sure we get that network wide. I've seen a couple of examples lately where we have had tractor trailers get into cable barrier and we have saved lives because that cable has actually pulled those tractor trailers back into the center median and kept them out of oncoming traffic. Super scary when that happens. Cable barrier is not designed to withstand that kind of an impact, but it's proven pretty effective time and time again, even with the larger commercial vehicles and trucks. So again, we so much appreciate your support. Cable barrier is an absolute lifesaver. So we're going to continue that effort until we get finished. And as always, coming into springtime, more and more in different types of travel. As we get into spring and summer vacation for school kids, first and foremost, always buckle your seatbelt. That's something I talk about often, and Oklahoma's got to do a better job of buckling up. It significantly reduces your chance of being a severe injury or a fatality. Should you have an accident, nobody ever leaves home in the morning intending to have an accident, but they happen out there every day. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I would be happy to stand for questions that the board might have of me.
Just one comment. You talked about interoperability. I think David will recall when we first started talking to Kansas about interoperability, they really weren't very interested. So now we've got Kansas, we've got Texas, we've got part of Florida, and it's going to take a while, but one of these days, hopefully, we'll have nationwide interoperability. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before the authority today? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion for adjournment. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Jenny, please call the roll.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Titsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Love?
Yes. We're now adjourned to our next meeting scheduled for Tuesday, April the 4th at 10:30. Thank you for your attendance.